Number 2 Kansas, number 3 Arkansas facing off in Fayetteville. A top 3 matchup within the Big 12 with major playoff implications. This same Arkansas team beat us last year when they weren't good. Imagine what they'll be capable of doing now that they are. The Jayhawks come into today 10-0, looking to wrap up our first undefeated regular season in this series. Not going to be easy, though, as we head on the road for both games, starting, obviously, at Arkansas, number 3, 9-1, and then we head to UCF to finish out this season. Despite winning both games in the last episode, we dropped in the rankings, losing the number 1 spot that we've had a stranglehold on for pretty much the entire season. Despite that, though, we are still the number 2 seed in the playoff, and we would currently be slated to face off against either Oregon or USC, 2 of the most experienced teams in the field, even though neither of their quarterbacks have ever played in a playoff game. It's a 3-horse race in the Big 12 with us, number 3 Arkansas, and number 4 TCU. We only have to win one of our last 2 games to essentially guarantee a spot in the conference title game. In the last episode, we played against Kansas State and Houston, probably the 2 worst teams on our schedule, but these are 2 special games, though. Kansas State's a rival, Houston was senior day, and against Kansas State, our offense went berserk. Best game in Kerry Chosen's career. Cornell Teamer was great, although Jeff Howden outdid him. He had 1 additional yard. It was actually really close for a quarter and a half, tied at 21, and then we just kind of took over halfway through the second quarter. The Houston game was also kind of competitive in the first half, which I didn't really expect given that they had 1 win going into this matchup, but we were able to take care of business in the second half, representing the senior class, which is not a particularly big group. And in terms of guys who started and finished their careers here, you have Clydepool, who's technically not a senior because he'll be back next year, presumably, whether that's here or somewhere else. Jalen Todd and Anthony Escalante are the only seniors who started their careers at Kansas. I feel like this senior day was more for the juniors, who are going to be leaving us for the NFL. Cornell Teamer, obviously, maybe Ty Lord, Mo Nwokeji, Devin Murphy, Luis Roche, possibly Kion Sample, Quantavius Landers, Amani Law, even though he didn't play. And then even some of the sophomores. I think Reggie Chanel could be an NFL guy. Kerry Chosen could possibly declare for the draft, which is not a thought I had ever had until the last episode. But for a guy who has an interception rate of less than 1, completion percentage higher than 71%, and has put himself in the Heisman race, it's hard to ignore the possibility of him leaving after this year and going to the draft. Anyway, we played well against Houston down the stretch. We outscored them 17-0 in the second half. They had some big plays through the air, but Anthony Leon was picked off 5 times. We had 5 different players come down with interceptions. Solid game from the offense, although they started a little bit slowly. We ran it well. Scotland Williamson was very effective. Both Teamer and Lord were banged up in the second half, so we didn't really get to use them a whole lot. Rajon Jones and Elijah Parrish were each great. They've both stepped up with the loss of Amani Law. And then again, 5 interceptions for 5 different players. Trey Coleman and Brandon Hines each with, I believe, the first interceptions of their careers. So with 2 games left to go, Kerry Chosen has put himself in the Heisman race, mostly for his impressive efficiency. Obviously, you've got Cornell Teamer as well, also in the Heisman mix. He currently leads all players in college football in rushing yards at nearly 1,200, averaging over 114 yards per game. That is a lot. We have to enjoy these last couple of games of Cornell Teamer because, well, he's going to be gone for the NFL. I think there's a number of guys on this team who will be leaving us for the NFL, but obviously he's the biggest name. He's probably going to be the first one off the board. But what makes this team so impressive is the depth. To have an RB2 like Ty Lord. With Amani Law injured, we've had these other wide receivers step up. Elijah Parrish has done a great job in recent weeks as his role in the offense has increased. And then Rajon Jones has been absolutely terrific. A guy who's been here for a while. This is his 3rd season as a starter, but I feel like he's never been consistent for us. And with Amani Law's injury, he's been thrusted into a bigger role and has been impressive. Over 100 yards in each of the last 2 games. He has scored in 4 games in a row. And with Amani Law likely going to the NFL after this year, Rajon Jones is probably going to have an amplified role in the offense next year, so this is a good endorsement for him. We've had other guys step up. Diggs, Ficken, Dorian Pepper at the crazy catch against Kansas State. The offensive line has been productive with guys like Reggie Chanel and Luis Roche, both looking like very strong NFL prospects. And then the defense. Not great in the first half of either game in the last episode, but we allowed 0 combined points in the second half against Kansas State and Houston. And Escalante had some intriguing senior day moments with a kick that doinked off the crossbar and in, and another kick that doinked out. So as we look at our schedule for the last 2 games, we've got Arkansas on the road, we've got UCF on the road. And as I said earlier, we only need to win one of these games to make it back to the Big 12 championship. This is how it kind of works. If we beat Arkansas, we will we will definitely be playing against TCU in the conference championship game. If Arkansas beats us, then they lock in a spot in the conference title game. And then it would be us or TCU, presumably us, given that we currently have the tiebreaker. So TCU's probably pulling for us. If they want to make the conference championship, they control their own fate if we win today. They have a bye week this week and then play Cincinnati next week. No slouch, but a team they should beat. Arkansas's last game is against Missouri. Tough matchup, but they're not in our conference. This is Arkansas's last Big 12 game. As for the other power conferences, SMU leads the ACC at 5-1. Can Sean Pullard pull a rabbit out of his hat and lead SMU to the playoffs? It's a very deep conference, but I don't know if anyone here is going to make the playoff. Virginia seems a little too far back. They're going to have to rely on either Boston College or Stanford. The Big Ten is going to have a lot of playoff teams. Currently 5 are in, and I would not rule out Notre Dame if they play well the last couple of weeks and beat USC. Right now, it's looking like a Michigan and Michigan State rematch. The Wolverines beat the Spartans a week ago, but Ohio State, Oregon, USC certainly on the bubble, even Maryland as well. As for the SEC, I don't know what to make of this conference. I mean, you have Kentucky and UNC who are playing some good ball. Georgia's in the mix. LSU at number 12 is in the mix. We will probably get a Kentucky and North Carolina conference championship game, though, but there are a lot of teams who could make the playoff. Georgia's currently in. LSU is one of the first out. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Texas, all in the mix if things go well for them as well. And then right at the bottom, you have Alabama, who is the worst team in the conference. They don't make any sense. How can they go from winning the national championship and being maybe the best team we've had in this entire series to 2-8? Anyway, let's look at Arkansas. They beat Notre Dame to start the year, and when we went through that game, I was kind of worried about Notre Dame. But as it turns out, Arkansas is the real deal. Their only loss was all the way back in Week 5 against a really strong Utah team who they only lost to by 1. And I'm pretty sure that's when Isaac Wilson was healthy. Now, they have not been playing their best football in recent weeks, needing 1-score wins over Florida State, Oklahoma State, and UCF over their last 3. With a win today, they are in the conference championship game, and they essentially would cement their spot in the playoff. At quarterback, the redshirt junior Malik Page, a 5-star back in Season 1, and a 2-year starter with the Razorbacks. His game is very similar to Clyde Poole. He's a little bit better than Clyde, but kind of the same idea in the sense that he relies on his athleticism, but he's got a lively arm. A little more accurate, though, than Clyde. Their top running back, Braylon Russell, will not go, a big loss, but they've got a deep group of skill position players, including former Kansas Jayhawk Sheldon Brink, who is now a senior. The defense is strong as well. Really good secondary. Tevis Metcalf and Selvin Bridges at corner. Both of those guys are pro-level prospects. So it should be a fun one here. I think if we win this game, we are in the playoff for good. Even at 10-0, I don't feel safe. If we lose the last 2 games, things could get a little bit dicey, especially UCF, who's obviously not some great team. So we've got to take care of business. Let's beat Arkansas, let's cement our spot in the conference championship game, and let's keep the road to an undefeated season going. The Razorbacks will start on offense. It's been a great year for Malik Page. Nearly 73% completion percentage, 2,600 yards, 26 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, along with being maybe the most dangerous, healthy rushing quarterback in the nation as he takes a shot from Javier Callaway, but he does get the first down. This Arkansas team can score a lot of points, but they can play ugly and physical as well. It's a jet sweep for Brink with a juke move, gets by Coleman, and Brink is wrapped up at the 35. We know he's an athlete. That's the biggest reason why we recruited him all the way back in year number 1. Kid can fly. Page surveys the field, looking deep. He's got his man, Connor Durbin, to the inside. In for a touchdown, and the Hogs are on the board early. A great throw by Malik Page, perfectly placing it into the bucket for Connor Durbin, the highest rated receiver on the roster, and it's 7-0. Our offense cannot play like they did in this building last year. We lost that game 17-10, wasting a terrific defensive performance. As we'll see what Kerry Chosen can do. Steps up, scrambles, he will tuck it and run. Weaves his way through the secondary, and he gains 14. I think Chosen has really figured out how to use his legs over the last couple of weeks. It's been fun to watch. 3rd and 5. He's got Jones on the comeback for 22. A nice grab by Rajon Jones, who, as we talked about earlier, has played well without Law. Chosen dances around, he escapes from the pressure, and fights his way to the 10. What a run by Kerry Chosen. I did not know he had that in his bag. He looked like he took a page out of Clyde Poole's book. 1st and 10. Teamer with blocks. He will waltz into the end zone for a touchdown, and our Heisman hopeful running back is in for a score to tie this game at 7. Teamer has scored in all but one game this year, as we are knotted up at 7. And after the defensive battle last year, both offenses so far have come to play early. Hogs back with it, 4.5 to go in the first. Page on 1st down, looking deep. That's Sheldon Brink past the 40. A big gain and a big start for Arkansas. Page is 4 for 4, playing really well right now. 1st down for Arkansas following the big gain. Play action. Page up the middle. It's hauled in. Benson Bromero, the tight end, brings it to the 15. These guys are marching down the field with ease. Malik Page has been incredible through 2 drives. 3rd and 2. It's Brink. Another 1st down and a very busy start for Sheldon Brink. 1st and goal. Looking to punch it in. Delayed handoff, and they are going backwards. It's Santiago Herrera with the TFL. On 2nd and goal, they'll go back to Emmett Powell, who gets lit up. Herrera again brings him down, and that'll make it 3rd and goal at the 5 for Arkansas. Page will look to throw it this time. Scrambles around, cannot escape. Afaji brings him down. As I've said throughout the year, I think he's our best player on defense. Certainly the most talented, but he's been a little quiet over the last couple of weeks. Good to see him making a play there, getting a stop in the red zone. Akeem Kalambaye, the senior, on to kick for Arkansas. This one is up and through for the Hogs, who regain the lead 10-7. Overall, Arkansas's offense has looked good, even though they weren't able to score in the red zone, and that will wrap up the first quarter. It is 10-7. Sheldon Brink has been really impressive for Arkansas. What a player he has turned into with the Hogs. In hindsight, he's definitely a guy who we wish we had and did not slip away from us in the portal. 3rd and 5. Chosen steps up, tucks it, and looks to run again. Another 1st down scramble for Kerry Chosen. He has 40 rushing yards. That's right around his career high, and we just started the 2nd quarter. 3rd and 5. Chosen on the run again. It is broken up. Looking for Dorian Pepper, but it is ripped away late. Arkansas with the stop. That was Bridges with the hit, and Kansas is going to have to punt the ball away. Sammy's kick is nearly blocked, but it looks like it could be a really good one. Out of bounds inside the 5 at the 2. What a punt by Ofisa Sammy. We'll see what Arkansas can do backed up deep, as it's going to be a nice 1st down run for Craig Avery. That'll get them fully out of safety territory, and our great punt is all for naught. 2nd and 4 now for the Hogs. Back to Avery. He is smothered. Zach Stokes brings him down, and we're now looking at a pretty pivotal 3rd down and 7 for Arkansas. Page looks to throw it. Scrambles. He's going to try to run with it, and he somehow jukes away from the linebacker and gets the 1st down. That was Nwokeji who could not bring him down. 3rd and 3. Page scrambles. He will run for another one. Malik Page is playing a lot like Clyde Poole. You don't know how good Poole is until you play against him, or in this case, somebody like him. And I'll tell you what, it's not fun. 2nd and inches. Avery up the field. Inside the 10. Wrapped up by G and Marcus Ashe. 8 carries, 57 yards. Avery, the true sophomore hailing from New Orleans, has played well. 1st and goal. They will hand it off to the other back. A big hit, but Powell is in for a touchdown as he does the gritty to put Arkansas up by 10. I don't think he was in, though. And sure enough, they would review and reverse it. That might not be a good thing for us unless we're able to get another stop here, because then they'll just be able to potentially waste more clock, or in this case, the 2-minute timeout. So we'll see if Arkansas can punch it in, trying to make it a 10-point lead as it's 2nd and goal. Page keeps it, read option, and he breaks the tackle from Javier Callaway, who's maybe the best tackler on our team. 17-7, a 10-point lead for Arkansas. We've got a big opportunity here offensively. We've got to take advantage. A 2-for-1. We get the ball now. We get the ball to start the second half. 3rd and 8. Chosen looks to throw it. Scrambles to his left. Look at all that room. Chosen. Juke move to nearly the 45. A great run by Kerry Chosen in a game where we really have not gotten Teamer going. Chosen's been the star of this show as Ty Lord does not get much up the middle. He's been quiet too. 3rd and 5. It is Parrish with the first down for Kansas, keeping the chains moving, but we've got to be smart with the clock. 30 seconds. Teamer has space, gets the first down, and we're going to use another timeout. We are down to 1. It's going to be tricky navigating this clock because obviously we want the touchdown, but at the worst case, we have to be prepared to end up with a field goal. 2nd and 10. Chosen up the middle. He's got Parrish. First down to around the 11. We're not going to call the timeout yet. We're going no huddle, but we've got to move it fast. 10 to go. Chosen is sacked. Tyrese Fleming and Greg Waitman are there with half a sack each. We're going to have to use that last timeout. We've got 8 seconds on the clock, presumably just looking for the end zone as that one is broken up for Elijah Parrish. Now it's a 3rd and goal with 5 seconds. We're going to keep the offense out on the field again. Chosen has an open man, underthrown and picked off. Selman Bridges with the interception to end the first half for Arkansas, and Kansas will lead this drive without scoring. The unfortunate thing about that play is Dorian Pepper was open. I mean, he ran a really good route. He beat Bridges off the line in press coverage and had separation. Chosen underthrew the pass. He had to throw a bullet rather than a lob because we needed a quick pass to get in there. We needed the play to last less than 5 seconds. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a potential chance at a field goal if it was incomplete. Well, we didn't end up getting a field goal. We got nothing. 17-7, your score at the break. Arkansas leads by 10. Our offense has done nothing since the opening drive, and the Hogs have scored all 3 times they've gotten the ball, excluding the last drive where they just knelt the ball. Malik Page has been unstoppable. 8 for 8, 142 yards and a passing touchdown. And then on the ground, 8 carries, 36 yards, and a rushing touchdown. We've gotten to practice against Clyde Poole every day for 3 years. If there's any team who should be equipped to stop this guy, you would think it would be us. Kerry Chosen's been underwhelming. 6 of 11, 49 yards and an interception. He's been great on the ground, though, with 63 yards. Meanwhile, Teamer is just 29. Both of those guys with 6 carries each. Chosen picking up right where he left off as a runner. Scrambles near the 40. On second down, play action. Chosen as an open man. It's the tight end, Rasheem Diggs. Fighting for yards, he brings it inside the 25. For an offense who needed to show some signs of life and a sense of urgency to begin the third quarter, this is encouraging. Teamer to the outside with a great block. He is in for a touchdown, and Kansas is within 3. Teamer's a little banged up, playing through a hand injury, but he's going to gut it out. His 15th rushing touchdown of the year. The all-time single-season Kansas record is 17, set by June Henley in 1996, although I think Jalen Daniels had 16 back in year 1. Another first down for Arkansas. Malik Page still has not missed a throw yet. Page connects again. Broken tackle. Good play after the catch. That is Tyler Wiley, the sophomore, also from New Orleans, Louisiana. 2nd and 1. Page up the middle. It's Durbin. Breaks a tackle inside the 10. Great play after the catch by Connor Durbin, who had the 36-yard touchdown earlier. 3rd and goal at around the 3. Arkansas looking to make it a 2-score game. Page up the middle. It's caught. Into the end zone for a touchdown. It's Tyler Wiley. 24-14. Arkansas continuing their dominant offensive performance. Kansas back with it. 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. Look at Teamer go, even with the injury. Look at him go near the 50. He just moves different. I mean, his short area quickness is second to none. 99 agility, 99 change of direction, and it shows up when you watch him. Chosen just shy of the yard to gain on 3rd and short. We're going to keep the offense out on the field, going for it on 4th and a yard. It's Teamer. Even though he's banged up, he's the guy we want getting the ball in these big spots, as he does get the first down, gaining around 3 or 4. Final play of the quarter on 1st down. Chosen under pressure. Has to throw it away. Our undefeated season is on the line going into the 4th quarter. Arkansas leads 24-14. It's been a really slow-paced game. Only 4 drives from each team today. It's been kind of grimy, grinded out, ugly football, but both teams are scoring, especially them, as Rajon Jones loses 2 on the screen. 3rd and 3. Nicholas Scotland-Williamson in at running back. He gets it up the middle. Oh, they're not going to give it to him. I thought he clearly got it, but I guess not. 4th and a yard. We're going to go for it. Nobody lines over the center, so that'll make things easy for Chosen, who does a QB sneak. Chosen on 1st down, steps up in the pocket, and he fumbles the ball! And it's picked up by Arkansas! Juju Pope with the strip sack, and Tyrese Fleming picks it up for the Hogs. An unbelievably untimely turnover. Chosen's first fumble of his career, and it could not have come at a worse time. If Chosen's able to break the edge there, that's possibly a touchdown. He would have if he had Clyde Poole's speed. No need to review that one. Definitely a fumble. As Avery loses 2, takes a shot by Nwokeji. Our defense has been non-existent on 3rd down. We've got to get some stops. Page will look to throw it. Has room to run. Gets by Satele. Another scramble and 3rd down conversion for Malik Page. He has done this all day. Time is ticking. Under 5 to go, as that's going to be a loss of yardage on 1st down. Soma Satele with the TFL on Emmett Powell. 2nd and 13 now for Arkansas. Tick, 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 tick. It's Avery. He is wrapped up. Good tackle. Satele again. And now it is a 3rd down and 9. Another huge play defensively. Page looks to throw. Has time. Scrambles. Runs. And he barely gets the 1st down, wrapped up by Nwokeji. That's at least the 4th time that Page has converted a 3rd down today with his legs. Fully in true clock mode, a big hit from Santiago Herrera. Another 3rd down. Now it is 3rd and 6 for Arkansas. Look at the clock. There's barely 2 minutes left. Page, short throw is caught. 1st and more. Into the red zone just about. A big play for Bobby Whitehead. His first catch of the game. It's 21 yards. And that brings us to the 2-minute timeout. The Jayhawks down by 10. Here is Powell. Breaks the initial hit and is wrapped up. Another TFL for Santiago Herrera, who has lived in the backfield in this game. He's been the only guy on defense to show up. On 2nd down, Herrera again. His 5th tackle for loss of the afternoon. And it's 3rd and 12. The 1st down ends this game for good. Page hands it off. Avery does not get it. Mo Nwokeji and Roddy Orr bring him down. So Arkansas is going to have to bring the field goal unit out. Columbaye from 36, and it's 27-14. So we need a lot to go our way. With no timeouts in just over 100 seconds, we need a touchdown, an onside kick, and another touchdown. Not ideal. Teamer's open short. He is out of bounds for the 1st down connection. We had a lot of guys going deep, but Teamer was able to get open in the flat. Now a 4th and 8. Game on the line. Chosen under pressure. Throws out of the sack. And that is going to do it. The unbeaten dream is over. Arkansas knocks off the Jayhawks again. 27-14 your final. Kansas loses their first game of the year and goes to 10-1. Arkansas goes up to 10-1 because of this guy. Malik Page did not miss a single throw. 18 of 18, 235 yards. He was responsible for all 3 touchdowns. He had some big runs. He is a supercharged Clyde Poole. I mean, that's the best way to describe his game. So Arkansas has clinched a spot in the conference championship game. This is not good for us, and it's not good for TCU either, because TCU is now 3rd in line for a 2-team gig. I mean, the efficiency between these 2 passing games were extremely far apart. That's the first difference statistically. 18 of 18, 235, 2 touchdowns. We couldn't do anything against Malik Page. And look at his rushing numbers. He had 66 yards in his score. He had at least 5 third-down conversions. Avery was effective as well through the air. Wiley, Brink, Romero, Durbin, all making big plays for the Razorbacks. Their offensive line was really good, and their defense was terrific. We only scored 14 points. And then the Hogs forced 2 really timely takeaways with the interception in the red zone to end the first half and the fumble in the red zone in the fourth quarter. If we scored touchdowns on those drives, we might have won. Kerry Chosen, his worst game as a Jayhawk. He was not good. He was not efficient. He was not able to push the ball downfield. But he had his best game as a runner, which is kind of weird. He had 86 yards. Teamer at 85 and 2 touchdowns. Nobody stood out receiving-wise because the passing game did not get anything going. The offensive line was okay. And then the defense, I know 27 points doesn't look that bad, but the defense was horrific. Other than Santiago Herrera, who had 5 TFLs, the defense sucked. Arkansas scored every time they got the ball, except for the last drive in the first half where they knelt the clock out. Every drive where they tried to score, they did score. That's a problem. So Arkansas has punched their ticket to the conference championship. We will not get a Kansas and TCU rematch. One of Kansas or TCU will get Arkansas. And who knows, maybe we'll see TCU again in the playoff. Let's talk some recruiting, though. This is what we learned going into the week. Tight end Ben Rockman has committed. He's a gem. He's a talented player who can block, who can catch the ball. I could definitely see him being a long-term starter once Rasheem Diggs eventually graduates. We do lose out on a different tight end, though. Garrett Van Denmark going to Maryland, which is to be expected. I didn't think we were going to win that battle. Maryland had a lot of positive momentum at the end, and they just had him in for a visit. So I figured we were not going to get him. We had the lead for a period in time, but Maryland was able to push forward for the native of Royersford, Pennsylvania. We do have a few guys down to 3, including the 5-star quarterback Cole Tam, who is all but a lock to come here. Jacquez Warrior, Cameron Andrews, and Alejandro Ariza are also down to 3, and we have the lead for all of them. So with the addition of Rockman, we now have the #1 class in the country for the first time this year. I'm honestly surprised it took this long. Not a whole lot to go over in recruiting now that there's not many players on the board. We're just kind of putting as many points in as possible. Cole Tam is the final 5-star left, and with a good visit last week against Houston, we're looking good. Jacquez Warrior is really close, though. We have the lead. Iowa's catching up. They had a strong visit, and then he's going to Wisconsin this week. Dakota Stewart, we have the lead. I think we're good, but it's not a gimme. Cam Andrews and Alejandro Ariza, I feel a little better about. I think we should land those guys, despite the fact that Ariza will be in Iowa this week. So this is how we're going to use our points. We are going to give everybody a lot. Not a whole lot of strategy going into it because most of the players on the board have already committed. So now we'll simulate through the week against Arkansas, and even though we did not get good news on the field by losing, hopefully we get some good news within the recruiting trail. 5-star quarterback Cole Tam is the 8th 5-star in the class to commit to Kansas, and a kid who may very well be the long-term quarterback after Kerry Chosen, who played for the rival high school of Cole Tam, with those guys, along with Jonathan Kutse, the other quarterback on our board, all growing up within 15 minutes of each other. Tight end Dakota Stewart commits as well, so we get Cole Tam from Aurora, Colorado, and Dakota Stewart from Aurora, Illinois. Ironic, as we fall to number 8. Jeez, that feels kind of harsh. Jaquez Warrior is going to Wisconsin. Seems like he had a good visit there. And even if he didn't, we finished in 3rd. We are in the top 3 for Stephen Hand and Jesus Grutadoria, as we are in 1st for both. Santiago Herrera wins the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. He only played 14 snaps. Yet he wins the Conference Player of the Week. And you know what? He completely deserves it. With his 5 TFLs, he was the only guy on defense who showed up. We still have the number 1 class in the country. We're putting the maximum amount of points into everyone. We actually have 70 points left over. That's how far we've gotten to at this point. We don't have enough players to put points into. Let's take a look at our scores across the country. USC just lost to UCLA. That's the headliner. USC's no longer a gimme for the playoff. They've got to win their game this week at Notre Dame against a hot Irish team. Stanford up to number 11. They beat Wake Forest. UNC blows out Texas. The Tar Heels now sit at 9-2 and have clinched a spot in the SEC title game. Michigan 11-0. The final unbeaten as they beat Illinois. Ohio State squeaks away from Nebraska. Maryland squeaks away from Iowa. Southern Miss beats Troy. The Golden Eagles are number 13. Troy is number 14. Those are 2 really good teams who both could still make the playoff. Oregon beats Northwestern. San Jose State loses for the first time this year. They drop to Nevada. Boston College beats Arkansas. The Eagles are currently number 10. USC, as I mentioned, lost. Michigan State wins. UConn beats Ole Miss. The Huskies are ranked. Notre Dame's playing some good ball. They're up to number 16. Missouri beats LSU. And then look at this at the bottom. Does that say 73-7? I knew Florida was bad, but holy hell. Their quarterback, Philip Guacham, threw for 67 yards, 33% completion percentage. And how many interceptions? Does that say 8? Oh my God. That might be the worst. No, that is the worst quarterback performance I have ever seen in my life. He had 9 completions to his team and 8 to the other team. 4 players for Kentucky had 2 picks. 4. How did Florida not think to bench him? I mean, I feel like at 4 or 5, you got to think about making a switch. After the 6th interception where they just, were down by 50, why not just ruin the kid at this point? See how many he can get up to. Good God. That is the worst quarterback stat line I have ever seen in my life. In the Big 12, Houston beats Colorado 10-7. I've been gassing up Colorado this year as a team better than their record. Clearly, I should not have done that. They lost to Houston, who only needed 10 points to win the game. That is a bad look, but it could be worse. At least their quarterback did not throw 8 picks. Bama beats Georgia. The Bulldogs go from number 10 to unranked entirely. Their playoff chances are toast, just like Alabama's back in week 5. I'm trying to focus on the other games, but I cannot get my mind off the fact that Florida allowed 73 points and threw 8 interceptions. And that was one of the late games too. That was a night game in the swamp. Did everybody leave at the end of the first quarter? I would hope so, unless they have a humiliation kink. So we have dropped to number 8 in the playoff. We are number 8 in the other polls as well. So we're still in the 12-team bracket. But we have fallen to the 9th seed. We'd be slated to play against North Carolina in the first round. And if we win, we would get Michigan again in the second round. We've already lost to them in the playoff twice in this series. So that would be something. Players of the week, Glenn Spears and Champ Tompkins. The former Kansas Jayhawk, who's all the way up to an 89 at UNLV. He's turned into a great run defender. I liked him with us. I thought he was a good rotational pass rusher in Season 3. Had 7 TFLs in this game. UNLV's playing some good ball. They scored 58 just a couple of weeks ago against NIU. And remember, their quarterback is another former Jayhawk in DeAndre Rainbow. And then, of course, Herrera wins it in the Big 12. Both Teamer and Chosen are off the Heisman list. Chosen, I get, he had a bad game. Teamer, I'm disappointed. I feel like he should still be there. Neither of them are even in the top 12. That feels a little bit extreme. I get we lost, but geez. All the guys we had high on the awards list have, like, vanished. I guess because we lost one game. So much of this is based on team success, clearly. Michigan's third-string tight end is in 6th for the best tight end. I feel like that's pretty telling. Anyway, one more game here in the regular season. We are headed to Central Florida to face off against the UCF Knights. If we win this game, we are in the conference title. If TCU loses against Cincinnati, which is unlikely but possible, then we can make the Big 12 championship. So we control our own fate. If we win, we're in. If we lose, there's like an 85% chance that we're out. So in other words, we've got to finish the job. UCF is playing for their bowl eligibility, as is Cincinnati, for what it's worth. They played against SMU and beat them. I feel like half the teams we've played against this year have played SMU. I don't know why, but it just feels like that. They gave TCU a competitive game earlier in the year, only losing by 3. But since then, they've lost 3 in a row. Their defense has not played well as of recent. For what it's worth, their offense is kind of middle of the road, but they're second to last in terms of points allowed in the conference, which, for what it's worth, we are first in that category and second in points scored, only behind TCU. At quarterback, they are led by Kiki Ikanem, the redshirt junior, who's actually having a really nice year. He was 12th on the Heisman list. The running back, Taj Chestnut, is out, so it'll be Stacey Gage who leads the backfield. They have the deepest wide receiver room I have ever seen, which has always been the case with them in this series. They've got an embarrassment of riches. I don't know how half of these guys have not transferred already. Their 6th-string wide receiver probably will play in the NFL, which is ridiculous. Their defense is not good, though, which is unfortunate because they have so much offensive talent. The deepest receiving core probably in the nation. And a quarterback who's legitimately pretty good. We're going to want to take this one in, given that it's our final regular season game of the actual series itself. Now, we will be kind of continuing into the college football 26 cycle, as I've mentioned in the past. And again, I haven't totally figured out what that will look like, but I do believe we will be playing plenty more regular season games with this team. But with the actual series being the main college football focus, this will be the last one. So let's enjoy it before we get into the pressure-filled playoff games. Must-win matchup for us. A conference title berth on the line. And the final career regular season games for a lot of these guys, including this guy. Running back Cornell Teamer returns to his home state for his final regular season game as a Jayhawk against a school who he almost played for. UCF was second in his recruitment after us. And he'll start off with a bang, going to the outside for a gain of 23 yards. Teamer's chasing some school records. He will break the rushing touchdown record most likely, and he could break the single-season rushing yards record as well. Hakeem Ficken breaks a tackle, and the true freshman with his first touchdown as a Jayhawk. Fitting that it's against UCF because he also almost played here. I thought Ficken for sure was going to commit to UCF last year, but we stole him late in the process. And he comes back to his home state, scores a touchdown on the opening drive, the first of his career against the team who he was supposed to play for, and was wise not to because he would have been like their wide receiver 10. He wouldn't have been on the field until his 4th season at UCF. So, good decision to come here. Good start for the Kansas offense after a rough game last week as we take a look at the UCF offense. Kiki Ikanem has had a really, really strong season. It'll be interesting to see how he performs. A guy who, stylistically, is not that different from Malik Page. Play action. Ikanem up the middle. Boink, boink. Intercepted! First defensive play is a turnover. It's Javier Callaway, his 6th interception of the year. We did not force a single incompletion last week. First defensive play of the game. Not only an incompletion, but a pick. And Kansas will get great field position and an opportunity to really take control of this game early, as we'll be getting the ball at the 33. An unlucky interception for Ikanem, but to be fair, he probably shouldn't have launched it into double coverage. Maybe next time he'll be more selective where he sends the ball. Just the 6th interception he's thrown all year, though, matching Javier Callaway's total. And Kansas gets it back. We're only 2 minutes in. This has been as good of a start as the Jayhawks could ask for. Teamer to the left side with some blocks inside the red zone. And Kansas is getting close to making it 14-0. Teamer already has nearly 50 yards on the ground. Second and goal at the 1. Teamer again pushes his way in. His 16th rushing touchdown of the year. That ties Jalen Daniels for second most in a season in Kansas history. And he's one away from tying the all-time record. And he's only 300 yards away from the single-season yards record, which was set by a guy, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Devin Neal. Back in season number 1, Neal got to play in a lot of extra games for that to happen. But hopefully Teamer will as well, given our playoff hopes and aspirations. 3rd and 2, UCF does not get it. Carlos Rico, the fullback, only gains a yard, and that'll lead to a punt. Kansas back with it. Chosen scrambles to the left on the run. At a career high in rushing yards a week ago at 86. Picking up where he left off as he goes out of bounds with a big gain. If Chosen can figure out how to use his newfound rushing ability and enhance his passing because of it, that would completely change this offense. Second down, Chosen is sacked. Bradley Stevens, the junior, wraps him up. And that'll make it a 3rd and 13. Chosen up the middle. Not a good throw. Broken up by James Byram. And that'll bring out the field goal unit. It is a 41-yarder for Anthony Escalante. 8 of 12 on the season after he was perfect in the regular season last year. As this one splits through the uprights right down the middle. Could not have been more perfect if he had tried. 17-0 for Kansas as UCF gets it back late in the first quarter. 2nd and 7. Akanum up the middle. Finally, their first down at the game, as it is hauled in by Roman Farrow. 5'6", 165. He is tiny. You know what else is tiny? UCF's yardage total. They only have 34. The Jayhawks, meanwhile, over 150. It has been a dominant start for a team who came into this game hungry, knowing what was up for grabs. A rematch with Arkansas in the conference title. On 3rd down, the screen is blown up. Devin Murphy leads the pressure. Kansas gets it back, looking to really make this game ugly. Chosen on 1st down, looking deep. Wide open, it's hauled in. Diggs breaks a tackle and is inside the 10. 52 yards for Rasheem Diggs, the sophomore tight end, with the longest play of his career and one of the longest passing plays of our season. 3rd and goal. Lord bounces off a blocker and he is in. Touchdown for Ty, his 10th of the year on the ground, 11th overall. Lord now has 24 career rushing touchdowns. For most schools, that's a lot. For us, that's 3rd amongst players on the team. Both Teamer and Clyde Poole being ahead. 24-0 lead for the Knights as Akanum gets the first down on the read option. UCF just looking for anything at this point. I mean, this is as bad of a start as they could have asked for with their bowl hopes on the line. Up the middle, Stacy Gage with a spin move. They haven't really given him the ball a whole lot yet. Got to get him going. 3rd down and 6. UCF finally passed midfield for the first time today as that one is caught. It's Roman Farrow again with a first down inside the 25. His 2nd catch of the game. And for the first time all afternoon, UCF starting to get something going. 2nd and 6 for the Knights. Akanum up the middle. That one is caught inside the 10. A good play after the catch for UCF as the play is made by Adrian Rossi. 1st and goal. Akanum scrambles and he is sacked. Wrapped up by Greg Van Olhofen. Atia Kiaho was there with some pressure as well. Now it is a 2nd and goal off of a penalty. Akanum scrambles and he is flipped over by Herrera and is just shy of the end zone. 3rd and goal. Under a minute left in the first half for the Knights. Somebody jumped. That was Kiaho. I didn't know if UCF could get any closer. It would have been funny if it was so close that the offense would get a touchdown out of it. Kind of like last year in the playoff when TCU beat, I'm pretty sure it was USC, who was too far back. A false start penalty resulted in a safety as Stacy Gage walks the red carpet into the end zone for a touchdown, and UCF finally on the board as it is 24-7. Not a lot to cheer about for these Central Florida fans. I mean, at least they can go to Disney World afterwards and have some fun. That's really the only thing they have going for them right now because Kansas has taken complete control of this game. We knew that we had a spot in the conference championship game on the line. We have not played in the Big 12 title game since season 1. We've done a lot of things in this series, but we have not avenged our conference title loss to Utah. Kerry Chosen's been really good, 10-13, 162 and a touchdown. He is back. 9 for 67 and a score for Teamer. Rasheem Diggs leads the way with 73 yards through the air, while Kike Akanum only has 48 rushing yards. Gage on 3rd and 1 does not get it. Greg Von Oelhoffen and Zach Stokes are there to bring him down. Not the start UCF was hoping for with the ball down by 17. Kansas has it back. Chosen does not escape. Good play there by the defense. That's Byram who wraps him up, and Kansas will punt it for the first time this afternoon. 3rd and 7. Akanum's pass should have been intercepted. Would have been Viliami Manupuna's 5th this year. Impressive for a guy who I think has played less than 50% of our snaps. Kansas has it back. 3rd and 6. We'll go with Teamer. Juke move. Not enough for the first down. Teamer with some friends and family here supporting him in his final collegiate regular season game. No offense from either side in the 3rd quarter. That goes against everything this conference believes in. Jordan Bridgewater near the 40. There's a good play for the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. Only 28 yards so far today. Under a minute left in the 3rd. Play action for Gage. Roddy Orr in the backfield. Sack number 11 on the year for Roddy. He's been quiet in both games today, though, but obviously has had a terrific season overall. 3rd and 19 for the Knights. Akanum looks to throw it, looking deep, and it's picked again. Brandon Hines had his first career interception in the last episode. Here's his 2nd. Makes a nice play on the football to wrap up the 3rd quarter. Hines is always a guy who's been more of a run defender, better closer to the line of scrimmage, but he's had some nice plays in coverage over the last couple of weeks, forcing another takeaway. Still 24-7 through 3. An uneventful 3rd quarter, but Kansas has looked good in this one. The defense has played a great game. The offense has gone quiet. I mean, they're not good 24-7 like the score suggests, but they have done enough to be up by 3 scores. To start the 4th, 3rd and 5. Chosen looks to throw it, scrambles to the left, has rushing room, and he'll take it. First down to around the 45-yard line. Another good game on the ground for Chosen. 6 carries, 49 yards. 3rd and 1. It's a pitch for Parrish. Gets a nice block by Diggs. A nice block by Teamer, and he gets it to the 15. Cornell Teamer in this game has been terrific as a blocker. He's had some really key blocks in this game. He's a guy who NFL teams can put on the field on every down because obviously he's a dynamic runner, but he can catch the ball and he can protect the quarterback as well. Chosen throws it away on 3rd down. That'll bring out the field goal team. 35-yarder for Escalante is good. He is 2 for 2, and that'll make it 27-7. Kansas not too far away, only 5 minutes left from clinching a spot in the Big 12 title. On 2nd down, Akanum's pass is caught. Big hit, but Adrian Rossi, one of the team captains, is able to hold on to the ball, getting the first down for UCF. Around the 30, Akanum wrapped up. It's a sack as he's brought down by Kyrie Brower, the redshirt freshman. Devin Murphy dinged up on the play. Not a guy we can afford to be without. 3rd and 4 now. Akanum looking deep for the end zone. It's picked again. 3rd of the game for the defense. It's Quantavius Landers with the interception for Kansas. And the Jayhawks are now not too far away from sealing the deal for good. Chewing some clock as Teamer bounces off a blocker inside the 15. Teamer out of bounds at around the 10. I know this is a little bit shameless with the clock under 20 seconds, but I kind of want to get Cornell Teamer back in the end zone. We're going for a Heisman here as he's stopped on 3rd down. I hate to be unsportsmanlike and call the timeout here because UCF hasn't. Ron doesn't anyway. It's not like we're playing one of our arch rivals. But we're going after a bigger deal here. Teamer, 4th and goal. He has one chance and he's in, tying June Henley's single-season rushing yards record for a Kansas Jayhawk. That's 17 for Cornell Teamer. There would be no extra point. The game did not let us kick one, although we probably would have just knelt it out anyway. and we win it 33-7. The Jayhawks, for the first time since Season 1, are going to the Big 12 Championship game, where we will get another crack at the Arkansas Razorbacks, who we just lost to last week. It'll be a quick turnaround. It'll be a neutral site. We've played in their building 2 years in a row, but this time around we will be in AT&T Stadium in Dallas, home of the Cowboys and home of this year's Big 12 title game between Kansas and Arkansas. We took care of business here against UCF. It wasn't pretty in the second half, but, I mean, we won the game by 26. It's hard to be too upset. Gary Chosen looked a lot more like himself after a really bad game a week ago. Cornell Teamer, career high in carries at 22. We used him a lot. He was very effective, unsurprisingly. Chosen, good on the ground as well. Through the air, Parrish led in catches, Diggs led in yards, and Hakeem Ficken, the native of Vero Beach, Florida, had the touchdown. Rajon Jones was kind of quiet, though, after a few really good games in a row. Defense was really strong. We were able to get our takeaways again. We had 3 this week. As for UCF, Kike Academ only threw 5 interceptions in his first 11 games this year. Today, he had 3. I mean, that speaks to how good this secondary is with all the ball hawkers we got back there. I don't know why they couldn't cover last week, but we've been able to the other 11 games of the year. Defensively, I thought UCF played better as the game went along, but, I mean, they still really struggled early, and when your offense only scores 7 points, you're not going to win many games. So let's simulate the week. Let's see what happens across the rest of the country as we determine our conference championship games. A lot of movement in the recruiting trail. Offensive tackle Cameron Andrews commits, a guy who we always expected to land, but is still a big get for us. Linebacker Stephen Hand. It was a tight race between us and TCU. We continue to own the Frogs on and off the field. Cornerback Alejandro Ariza. We beat out Wisconsin and Iowa. Safety Jesus Grutadoria. We beat out TCU again, along with Texas. 4 new commitments adding to the recruiting class as we move up to number 6 in the rankings. We have a few guys down to 3. Raekwon Payne we're in 3rd for, so we're probably not going to get him. The conference championship game is set. Number 6 Kansas and number 8 Arkansas. So that would mean they lost this week. Wow, that is fascinating. The same Missouri team who we beat by 46 beats Arkansas. I don't think that's good for us because now Arkansas is no longer a gimme to make the playoffs, so they're going to go after this one that much more. In terms of the other notable storylines across the country in our final regular season week, Ohio State ducking Michigan for 2 years. They finally play again, and Michigan continues to own them. Ohio State now 0-4 against the Wolverines in this series. They fall to 25. Their playoff chances are cooked, while Michigan, the only unbeaten team at 12-0. Oregon number 3, UNC number 7. Louisiana Tech with a bad loss to Middle Tennessee State. That potentially changes some things for the Bulldogs, whose playoff chances look a lot slimmer. That opens the door for a team like Miami, now number 14. Stanford and San Jose State. Who would have thought this game would have playoff implications for both sides going into the year? Stanford wins it. They are number 9, looking to clinch a playoff spot with a win in the ACC title game. Missouri beats Arkansas by 17. Wow. The Tigers, number 16. I don't think they're going to make the playoff, and that is honestly a sigh of relief. I know we beat them by 46, but they are good. You know who does not look good right now? USC. They lose to Notre Dame, and after starting today ranked in the top 10, they are unranked entirely. They made the playoff 3 years in a row, but not this season. Notre Dame, number 12. It looked like they did not have a chance earlier in the year to get in, but Jay Pitts might have dragged this team back to life, and the Irish are in a good spot to potentially make the playoff for the first time since their title run 2 years ago. The Irish did not choke a 28-3 lead in their final game, and with no more games to play, they are the last team in. Clemson, meanwhile, is the first team out. If they can sneak in and have some luck go their way, they could be dangerous with Corin LaRocque, who's never played in the postseason. TCU barely beat Cincinnati by 3. The Frogs are number 2, but will not play in a conference championship game. And then here are some scores in the Big 12. Florida won! How embarrassing is that to be Florida State? The same Florida team who scored 7 points and threw 8 interceptions last week beats FSU. That's a bad look if you're a rival. Those Florida fans are probably dunking on the FSU fans, and honestly, deservedly so. Miami with a hot streak to end the year. They put up 52 on Wake Forest. will not be enough for a playoff run, but they have played well to finish the season. SMU, yikes, they only score 3 against Syracuse. SMU will play in the ACC title game against Stanford, but they will not make the playoff probably even if they win because of the Group 5 teams ranked ahead of them. So they are looking to play spoiler for Stanford. The Jayhawks are number 6 currently in the rankings, and we are the number 8 seed. North Carolina is still our opponent. I think we flip-flop spots with them and would still be projected to play Michigan in the first round of the playoff. Our matchup with Arkansas, though, will decide likely either the number 2 or the number 3 seed. I think Michigan and Michigan State in the Big Ten title game, winner of that game gets number 1. And then some combination of the SEC and Big 12 winners will get 2 and 3. Here are your players of the week, national and in the Big 12. As for the Heisman, still no teamer. How are you going to put the USC guys here if they're 8 and 4? Does team success matter or not? Let's be consistent here. We'll simulate another week. Not a whole lot to go over in recruiting because we're just going to give all those guys a lot of points. We had 2 commitments, and neither of them are for us. Teddy Jackson out of nowhere is going to Florida. That caught me off guard. Raekwon Payne is going to Syracuse. That did not catch me off guard. That was pretty expected. Brian Jefferson's down to 3. Very close race. We're in second. CJ Short is down to 3. Not a close race. We have the lead. So with most of the guys on the board now committed, there's less than 10 players left who are undecided. Only 8. Our class consists of 22 prospects, 8 5-stars, and 14 4s. As we look at our conference title games, Army did beat Navy final week of the year. So obviously we've got Arkansas. As I mentioned earlier, I think Michigan and Michigan State determines the number 1 seed. Some combination of North Carolina, Kentucky, us, and Arkansas will get the 2 and the 3. If Stanford beats SMU, they would get the 4. And then after them, you look at the Group 5 teams such as Southern Miss, who's the highest ranked Group of 5 team left. They play Marshall. Then Miami of Ohio, they play Toledo. Then probably the winner of Louisiana Tech and Western Kentucky. We might also have an at-large Group of 5 team. Troy at 10 and 2 is currently ranked number 10. They don't have any games left. So it looks like Troy will probably make the playoff, bearing multiple teams below them, jumping them at the end of the year. A lot at stake next week. We've only played in the conference championship game once, losing in heartbreaking fashion to Utah back in season 1. And we finally returned 4 years later against a familiar opponent, an Arkansas team who we just played against today. Can we get over our kryptonite, beat the Hogs, get a first-round bye, and get ourselves set for another playoff run? Or do we lose to Arkansas and possibly put ourselves in danger of being on the playoff bubble? Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.